Big news from Ram. I think this is going to change the truck industry.
You ever notice how every time a truck brand drops something new, the ads make it sound like the second coming of horsepower? They slap dramatic music on the commercial, show some dirt flying, and suddenly you're supposed to believe this truck will solve every problem you've ever had. But here's the thing, sometimes new really does change the game, and sometimes it's just smoke and mirrors. And right now, that's the exact storm Ram has stirred up with the RHO. They're pitching it as their new crown jewel, a 540 horsepower beast built to dominate off-road. According to Ram, it's the truck with the most horsepower per dollar in the entire segment. On paper, it looks like the future of Ram performance. But here's the problem. Ram already has a legend in the family, and it's called the Power Wagon. For decades, that badge has been synonymous with heavy-duty toughness, with dragging trailers up trails where most trucks wouldn't even make it past the first hill. The Power Wagon is the grizzled veteran. So here's the big question. Did Ram just build a Power Wagon killer? Or is the RHO just a flashy recruit that still can't replace the king? Let's break down exactly what Ram wants you to believe about the RHO. It's powered by the Hurricane High Output Inline 6, twin turbos, intercooler, tuned for Baja speed runs. The result is 540 horsepower and 521 pound-feet of torque. Pair that with an 8-speed automatic transmission and adaptive drive modes that change depending on whether you're in mud, sand, rock, or wide-open desert. Throw in a locking rear diff, big off-road tires, skid plates, and a suspension that's supposed to soak up punishment while still handling pavement, and you've got a spec sheet designed to hit every button in your brain. It's a truck that says, forget the Ford Raptor, forget GM's ZR2, we're done playing catch-up. And honestly, if you just read those numbers, it looks like Ram has built something to finally compete in that halo off-road category. It's lighter than an HD, it's got more horsepower than a Power Wagon, and it's supposed to be more agile, quicker, and easier to live with day to day. But here's where the story takes a turn. Specs don't win wars, trucks do. And if you put a brand new RHO next to a Power Wagon, the RHO might look prettier, but it hasn't proved a thing yet. The Power Wagon has. Based on the Ram 2500 platform, the Power Wagon has always been about heavy-duty strength. It comes with the 6.4-liter HEMI V8 that pumps out over 400 horsepower and nearly 430 pound-feet of torque. Sure, those numbers don't jump off the page compared to the RHO, but anyone who dismisses the Power Wagon on horsepower alone doesn't understand the way trucks are actually used. Because here's the reality. The Power Wagon is designed to take hits, day after day, year after year. Let's put it this way. The RHO is like a brand new MMA fighter with a flashy record and hype videos. The Power Wagon is the old-school heavyweight champ who's been in every kind of fight, has the scars to prove it, and still comes out swinging. You don't beat that with marketing. You only beat that with proof. So let's get specific. Power-to-weight ratio. This is where the RHO flexes hard. Being on the lighter 1500 frame means that its 540 horsepower actually translates into real acceleration. The Power Wagon, being heavy-duty, drags around a lot more steel. That means the RHO feels faster, more responsive, and more fun on open trails. You're going to notice that immediately if you blast across sand washes or take it out into the desert. But torque to weight? That's a different battlefield. The Power Wagon is heavy, but it's geared for punishment. With its axles, suspension, and frame strength, it can deliver torque to the ground in ways the RHO can't match. You want to hook up a heavy trailer and climb a steep grade at altitude? Power Wagon will still take that fight. The RHO is more about speed and versatility. The Power Wagon is about brute strength. And speaking of brute strength, let's talk suspension and off-road hardware. The RHO is loaded with electronic wizardry, terrain modes, stability programs, throttle mapping, all things that make it friendlier to the average driver. But the Power Wagon? That's old-school hardware, a disconnecting sway bar for articulation, solid front and rear axles, lockers at both ends, and a factory-installed winch that saved more trucks than I can count. That's not hype, that's survival gear, and that's why real off-roaders still swear by the Power Wagon. Now here's where things get spicy. People online are already calling out the RHO for being softer than it looks. Forum threads are full of guys saying, It's powerful, but it's still a half-ton at heart. The suspension is tuned more for desert speed than for crawling, and they're not wrong. The RHO isn't a heavy-duty workhorse. It's more like a fun toy that happens to have big numbers. That's fine, but don't confuse it with the Power Wagon's ability to crawl rocks all day with 8,000 pounds chained behind it. Let's not forget about bed length and payload either. The RHO is shorter, more maneuverable, but sacrifices some utility. The Power Wagon, being HD-based, still gives you more payload and more usable capacity. And while RHO is lighter, sometimes weight is exactly what you want. Stability when you're towing, strength when you're winching, or confidence when the trail gets truly nasty. But here's the other side of the coin. The Power Wagon's weight is also its Achilles heel. Try threading that massive truck through tight forest trails or maneuvering it on narrow switchbacks, and you'll quickly realize it's not for everyone. The RHO, with its lighter frame and quicker responses, is going to feel like a completely different animal. It's closer to a Raptor than it is to its heavy-duty brother. And that makes it appealing to a whole new crowd of buyers. People who want something badass without driving something the size of a house. Price and value is another battlefield. Ram brags that the RHO gives you more horsepower per dollar than anything else in its class. And they're not wrong. But let's be honest. You don't stop spending when you buy the truck. A turbocharged inline-six running high boost is going to need attention. Turbos don't last forever, intercoolers fail, and repair bills on modern forced induction engines aren't pocket change. Meanwhile, the Power Wagon's naturally aspirated HEMI may be thirstier on fuel, but it's also proven. Mechanics know it, parts are available everywhere, and owners trust it. Reliability doesn't sell ads, but it does keep trucks on the road. And here's where it gets really interesting. Legacy. The Power Wagon is a nameplate that goes back to World War II. It's got history, credibility, and a loyal following. When you roll up in a Power Wagon, you're not just driving a truck, you're carrying on a tradition. The RHO, it's brand new. It doesn't have that legacy yet. And that matters more than people think, because in the truck world, credibility isn't given. It's earned over decades. So, did Ram just build a Power Wagon killer? Not quite. They built something different. The RHO isn't designed to replace the Power Wagon. It's designed to appeal to people who want speed, flash, and versatility. It's a truck for the dunes, for the weekend trails, for the owner who wants something that looks as wild as it drives. The Power Wagon is still the truck for people who live in the heavy-duty world, who tow, haul, and beat on their rigs year after year. Here's my verdict. If your life is about towing heavy loads, rock crawling in nasty conditions, and relying on raw durability, the Power Wagon still rules. If your life is about speed, style, and hitting the trails with something that feels more fun than heavy, the RHO might actually be the better call. And that's the truth Ram doesn't want you to think about. They want you to believe RHO is the new king. But kings aren't crowned in marketing brochures. They're crowned when the truck survives 10 years of abuse and still comes back for more. The Power Wagon has already done that. The RHO still has to prove it. So what do you think? Would you put your money on the RHO or stick with the Power Wagon? Drop your choice in the comments, and if you've owned either, share your story. I'll pin the best ones. And make no mistake, this isn't just about Ram versus Ram. It's about where trucks are headed. Are we moving into an era of turbocharged, tech-heavy machines like the RHO? Or are we still clinging to the proven brute force of V8-powered legends like the Power Wagon? That's the real war, and the side you pick says a lot about where you think trucks are going. Stick around, because next, we're going to dive into Ford's EcoBoost gamble, and why it might be following the same risky path Ram just took with the Hurricane. And trust me, the numbers there are going to shock you.